morning, Inner Light. Gary Lynn Floyd with you again this morning. It's so great to be back with you. I invite you to sing this song if you know it. Some of you might know it. It's called One Big Family. It goes like this. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are loved, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. We'll sing all that again. Here we go. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey.
Well, hey, hey, hey. Thank you. That's Mr. Gary Lynn Floyd. Big fun. Thank you for that musical invocation. I am Reverend Deborah Johnson, also known as Rev D. Welcome. Welcome to Inner Light Ministries, to our Sunday morning streaming service. Whether you were here for the first time, whether you are a regular, I want you to know that you are welcome here. And we are so pleased to be sharing this space with you. Just take a breath. How good it is to be alive, to be awake, aware, spiritually available. That's part of the reason why we come together. We come together to awaken from the hypnotic trance, the ways in which we are sometimes just sleepwalking through life. We're here to remember the truth of who it is that we really are. Get off of automatic pilot. Be very, very present in the nowness of this moment, because life is in session. Life's not a spectator sport. Life is in session right now. And we show up. We're here at Inner Light to help you show up with your A game, with excellence, not mealy mouth, not half stepping, not feeling like you're a victim of the outer circumstances and the conditions, but realizing that you have power, you have potential, you have agency. We believe in you. We believe in you. We believe in you. You're not here by accident. Out of all the places that you could be right here at this moment, there's a reason. There's a reason. So we come to celebrate. We come to celebrate the you that's in me and the me that's in you. That's why we're here. At Inner Light, we have a vision of transformation on both the personal and the collective level. We provide tools for living that encourage the practical application of universal spiritual principles to all of life's circumstances. We're not here about theory, we're about application. We're not here to just talk about something that happened some long time ago or to read some creed or some dogma. We're here to talk about life and the practicality of life and how you can have the best life for the you that you are intended to be. You don't have to be a copy of anything. You are a one of a kind. Isn't that extraordinary? There's never been another you. Ever. We come here to celebrate that. One of the tools that we provide every single week, they are spiritual activations. They are concepts and precepts and ideas. They're practices. They're things to do. They're ways to frame 100 words. If you dare to say them, if you dare to repeat them, if you dare to come back to them often enough so that you can anchor in them and they become a place of embodiment within you, which you can only get through repetition, I guarantee you it will change and transform your life. If you are able to, I want to invite you to say the affirmations with me right now. This day, I choose to live in oneness. This day, I see myself in everyone and everyone in me. No longer am I deceived by outer appearances of differences. Underneath our glorious diversity, we are all sons and daughters of the Most High. I am grounded in the awareness that we share the same atmosphere. We breathe the same air. Our tears are equally wet. Wherever I am, I model the beloved community. Always, there's only one of us here. We bring joy and wholeness to each other's lives. The divinity in me honors the divinity in you. Namaste. Breathe that in. And I'm going to invite Gary to come back and give us a musical offering to help cultivate our spirit.
All right. Thank you.
See yourself in me, seeing you, seeing me. Use my eyes to recognize the essence of your beauty. And I'll see myself in you, seeing me, seeing you. I'll use your eyes to recognize the lies I've tried to prove. All I am is all you are, and all you are is in my heart. Come now, you'll see clearer. Let me be your mirror. yourself with me. Honestly, it's safe to be here in holy ecstasy, solving every mystery. And I'll be myself with you, giving you my gratitude, sailing on an endless high. We fly. All I am is all you are, and all you are is in my heart. Come now, you'll see clearer. Let me be your mirror of love. I see sweet perfection here in your reflection. I see sweet perfection here in your reflection. I see sweet perfection here in your reflection. All I am is all you are, and all you are is in my heart. Come now, you'll see clearer. Let me be your mirror. Oh, come now, you'll see clearer. Let me be your mirror. Come now, you'll see clearer. Let me be your mirror of love.
Wow. That was just exquisite. That pierced right to the soul. Before you go, um, will you share with us a little bit about the inspiration of that or how it came through or
I wrote that song with my friend Amy Steinberg, and she and I were at a retreat together, and we just were in that beautiful moment of being with one another. We went into this little chapel, and just were talking about how we kind of reflect to each other um, the essence of one another, and sometimes when we can't see it in ourselves, we can see it reflected back in another person. And so that was the inspiration, and we sat down at a little piano in this chapel and wrote that song kind of to each other to remind each other of the beauty that we see in one another.
that's fabulous. And you know what? Amy was our musical inspiration last week. And she'll be the musical inspiration next week.
Oh, wow. Well, how perfect that lines up like that. Unbelievable. Well, not unbelievable.
Yeah,
That spirit.
yeah,
Oh,
that
thank
that
you.
has a sweet, sweet resonance. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Mm. Let's just take a breath on that. We're talking about the me that's in you and the you that's in me. I know when we hear words like that, it can sound like it's just a bunch of metaphysical, like mumbo jumbo. Like, what in the world are you talking about? And I can appreciate that because I know how confused I used to be at ideas like that. Like, there's only one of us here. What are you talking about? What is that? And hopefully I can unpack that a little bit and what I can tell you is that it isn't just a theoretical concept, that literally, physically speaking, if you talk to a geneticist or even an astrophysicist, that they will explain to you how within each and every one of us are the pieces and particles of everybody who's ever lived before. How literally at every moment in every day, we are breathing in and out each other. Think about that. You don't have your own air. You don't have your own atmosphere. That we are literally breathing in and out. A couple of days ago, I finally took these DNA tests. During the holidays, they had sales on these, and I went to 3 different companies, and I thought, well, okay, I'm going to do 3 different tests, and let's see what comes out here. So one of them, you scrape inside your jaw and to get the DNA material, and the other 2, you just spit. And as I was doing it, I was thinking, oh my God, something that we think of as seemingly insignificant as our saliva carries with it in it the whole history and story of our existence. Like, wow. And I know some people will say, well, I can understand that from like a DNA standpoint. I can kind of understand what you're talking about in terms of one of us, if it's people who come from my direct lineage. But like, what about you over there? There is no you over there. That physiologically speaking, if we go back far enough, all of us are coming from the same source. All of us. Just let that sit in for a moment. All of us. There are no exceptions anywhere. This idea that there's a you and there's a me is not so much true from an actual essence standpoint as it is from an outer experience standpoint. It's kind of like if you have a redwood tree and you have a little weed, there's not more life in the redwood tree than there is in the little weed. They're different aspects of the same thing. You know, a Doberman Pinscher is not more of a dog than a Chihuahua. They're just different breeds and different aspects of the same thing. So here's what we have going on. There's just one universal creative field. There's just one life. And it's the same life expressing itself everywhere. It's the same life that's in the redwood tree, that's in the Chihuahua, that's in you, that's in me, that's in the rock. It's the same creative energy, just expressing itself differently. Let this sink in for a second. It's the and. It's the and. So the one universal energy field that is all of life, in its pure essence, is shapeless. It's formless. And when it starts to take shape and it starts to take form, it expresses itself in variety and diversity. So this one creative energy that is the source of everything never expresses itself the exact same way twice. Isn't that extraordinary? Where something as seemingly insignificant as your baby finger has its own print. Every leaf, every snowflake. There's not two of the exact same anything. Kind of boggles the mind when you think about it. But what happens for us is we allow that diversity, we allow all that variety that we see with the naked eye to try to convince us that there's somehow real differences. We look at the way that it's packaged and come to the conclusion that it's not the same thing, as opposed to it's the same thing, just in another package. I talk about this sometimes, about how the English language makes us even harder for us to truly understand the way that there's just this oneness. That in the English language, the adjectives that we use are what become the focus of our attention. So in the English language, you have orange juice, you have apple juice, you have tomato juice, pineapple juice. That's not the way that it is in, let's say, the Spanish language. In the Spanish language, you start with the thing first, and then there's the adjective. It's juice. It's juice of the orange, juice of the apple, juice of the grape, juice of the pineapple. But you don't miss the fact that it's juice. It's all juice. School of the law, school of the medicine, school of this, but it's a school. And for us, we get stuck on, well, that's grape juice and that's orange juice. Like, these aren't the same thing. Can't you see that? No, it's juice. It's juice. That's what it is. It's just a different kind and it's a different flavor of juice. And that's how it is with us. We come in all these beautiful varieties and forms and whatnot, but it's still just the one thing. It's still just the one thing. Our ego self gets its sense of who it is by differentiation. I know I'm me because I'm not you. That's part of the ego's job, is to help us build identity. And it gets its sense of itself through contrast and comparison. Contrast, the way things are different. Comparison, the way that they're the same. So concepts like oneness, that's really scary to our ego self. Really scary. Because the ego self wants to differentiate itself. If you start talking about too much oneness, that ego self starts to freak out, feeling like, well, is there a me? Where is there going to be a me? Am I going to get lost in some kind of big cosmic soup? This is a problem. This is a big problem, particularly on that road to spiritual surrender. Because it can get really, really scary. Feeling like, do I have to give up me, stop being me to fulfill some great mission and purpose? Can't I do both? Yeah, you can. But you're going to have to work through and transcend that ego's fear. In our society, capitalistic society, let me be specific, we complicate this and I think make it even harder. Because in our system, The more things are alike, the less value they have. Okay. Something has higher and higher value from a monetary standpoint. How much somebody's willing to trade for it or give to it, the more kind of unique it is, the more in which it stands out. So if something seems to be replaceable or in abundance, or I can't make that big of a distinction between this one or that one, then in our economic system, we don't, quote unquote, value it as much. We're not willing to pay as much for it. This is true whether it's workers, like factory workers or something like that, childcare providers or whatever. If it feels like there's a lot of them and they can be easily replaced, and I can't really make that much distinction between one or the other, then we don't ascribe as much value to it. Okay. But we've done that about everything. You just go out, well, this is a tree. Looks like there are a bunch of other trees out there. Well, let's just chop that one down. Like that one doesn't make that much of a difference. We've done that all over the place. We have to change that. We have to change that thinking, and we have to change that mentality. Something's not valueless because it's so much like something else. We need to flip the switch on that. Say it has value because it's part of the whole. It has value because it is part of the whole. Sometimes it's easy or easier for us to say, yeah, well, I could see how everything's an expression of God, that, if there's just one creative force, and of course, God's in this thing and that thing, but not me. God's in that other person or that other thing, but not me. So let that sink in for a second. So if you're looking at a beautiful flower, you go, wow, how beautiful that is. What an exquisite expression of God and the divine this flower is. I think a lot of people can get to there. But what I'm talking about is another level. What I'm talking about is where you can look at that flower and go, wow, here's a part of me, a part of life expressing itself as the flower. Part of me, part of my life expressing itself as the flower. When I say there's only one of us here, that's what I really mean. I really mean that. There's only one of us here. We may come in these different little packages of varieties, but imagine for a moment if you stopped othering. See, differences don't cause conflict. It's polarization around the differences that causes the conflict. I just heard yesterday, I'm not even sure what the joke was or who the comedian was. Sometimes when I'm driving, I listen to on Sirius Radio, I listen to the comedy stations. And as I tuned in, I heard this one comedian talking, he was making jokes about hating people. And he says, yeah. He says, I've definitely figured out who it is that I hate. He says, yeah, I've been able to just like reduce it down to like a single category. others. and, and I started busting out laughing because, because it's as simple as that. That just the process of othering gets us into a sense of separation. A sense of separation. In scripture, it says, judge unless you be judged. Judge unless you be judged. That the more we judge, the more judgment that there is. The only thing that ever needs to be healed is the sense of separation. So we're in this loop that's happening here where I hate you because I think you hate me. I'm separating from you because I think you're separating from me. I want to make sure that I can have some control over you because I'm afraid that you're trying to have control over me or us. And it becomes this never-ending loop, never-ending loop. And one of the bases of empathy is when you can see yourself in someone. Sympathy, I feel for you. Empathy, I feel as you. I can feel that. We're in an increasingly divisive social political environment. You know, I don't know if it's technically more divisive than it's ever been. The divisiveness is just amplified. We have the social media and the algorithms and the technologies to really put the spotlight on this and fan those flames. And I'm telling you now, we got to put the brakes on this. Okay? And there is no self-righteous otherness. Okay? Othering is othering. The only thing that ever needs to be healed is the sense of separation. The conflict is not the differences. The conflict is the polarization around the differences. One of the conflict resolution techniques that I highly, highly recommend. You're not going to like it, but I highly recommend it. And you won't like the results, but they are worth their weight in gold if you're willing to go there. It's to ask yourself a single question. How am I them? And how are they me? How am I them? And how are they me? Particularly in those situations where you are the most at odds with each other, the most at odds. And you will find that there's a kernel there where a lot of times you're really coming from the same place. I've noticed, and you can talk to anybody that does counseling, they'll tell you the same thing. That whether it's couples counseling or family counseling, whether it's some kind of conflict resolution in an organization or like no matter how big or small, at some level, everybody's accusing everybody of the same thing. I think it was Marianne Williamson that said in her book, A Return to Love, that to a certain extent, every argument between couples is a race to the spot of victim. Who's most inconvenienced? Who was in the wrong? Who hurt whom? You know, who did it first? Who's the most responsible? Like whatever that is. And what I notice is that it may show up differently, but each party is somehow feeling betrayed. Each party is somehow feeling invisible. Each party is feeling unappreciated. each party is feeling like the other one doesn't really have their best interests at heart. This is true whether you're talking about the so-called dominant and oppressors or the ones who've been marginalized, that underneath it all, when you parse it out, and I know you see it in the social political arena, it flabbergasts me how people who are the perpetuators of things in their mind and can perceive themselves as the victims. No one ever throws the first punch. It's the most extraordinary thing. How everybody always perceives themselves as being on the defense, just protecting themselves, even if they're on the offense. Even something like the invasion of Ukraine, if you listen to Putin, his argument is defensive. And that's what he's selling the Russian people. We're being attacked by Ukraine. They're stealing our territories, blah, 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 blah. No. When you get to that point where you're there's only one of us here, something happens to your heart. This is why I believe that Jesus said the greatest commandments were to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and then to love your neighbor as yourself. Too often we confuse that second commandment, to love your neighbor as yourself, with the golden rule. They're not the same thing. The golden rule is behavior. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's great. That's a rule I think that we all should live by. But the reason why there is a golden rule is because of the second commandment, which is not about behavior. It is about identity. It is about perception. This love is the Greek agapeo love, which is the oneness love. It is the connection love. It is the unconditional. It's not based upon kinship or anything that is familiar. It's not an emotion. It's a state of being. It's a state of unification. See, love is not just an emotion. Love is the unifying force in the universe. Love is what keeps it all together. The only thing that needs to be healed is a sense of separation, and what heals separation is unification. It's love that heals that sense of separation, not the emotion, but the sense of the identity that I'm not so far apart, or I'm not so separate from whatever that thing is. The more we feel distant from something, the easier it is for us to bring harm to it. You can't bring harm to something that you feel connected to. You don't feel harm when you're experiencing the oneness. So when you see people doing things to one another, whether on a big scale or a small scale, that are not kind or supportive, what you're seeing in there is their sense of disconnect, that they're not feeling the unification. You can say, well, this thing happened and that thing happened, how can I feel unified? And what? No. But not too long ago, we celebrated Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And I love what he said. He said, I'm so glad that Jesus didn't say to like your neighbor, because it's kind of hard to like somebody who's bombing your house. This isn't about that. But he also said, there's nothing that any man can do to make me stoop so low as to hate him. Because when I begin to hate, I become as low as that thing. There's only one of us here. And to the extent that I other you, I other myself. Listen to what I'm saying. If there are people that you have your heart closed to, if you've got them over there, the extent to which you're wanting harm to come to other people, it boomerangs back on you. I can hear my grandmother now telling me, remember, if you're throwing mud on the people, you got to get the mud on you. Put down the swords. Put down the armor. Put down the defensiveness. I'm not saying don't fight, but it's got to be out of love. All of a sudden, I'm seeing a scene from Touched by an Angel. Both of these characters have since passed on. But Della Reese, who plays the character Tess, is working with a young lad who's being bullied. And he decides to take up boxing because he's going to protect himself. And the guest star is Muhammad Ali. But this is in his later years when he has the Parkinson's and he's really not very verbal. But he manages to get some utterances out, and Della Reese interprets what he's saying to the boy so he can understand it. It's probably like 12, 13, something like that. And what Muhammad Ali said is that if you're not fighting out of love, it's just a fight. If you're not fighting out of love, it's just a fight. I want to challenge you now. Not even like just encourage. I want to challenge you now to rise above the divisive rancor that's going on in our society right now. I want to challenge you to consider every single person somehow or another a part of you. It doesn't mean you have to agree. It doesn't mean that at all. But it does bring a little bit of empathy and compassion. I understand why who I am and what I stand for is a threat. I understand why there is the pushback. Because if you've been accustomed to a world where you, your group, your gender, your race, your religion, your everything is on top and has the chance to control everything, it's a pretty scary thing if you got to share that, or if you're going to lose that position. It's even scarier when you're afraid that the other group is going to do to you what you do to them. You know, I do prison outreach, and it's most amazing thing where when you hear men and they talk about prison or going to prison or fear of prison or jail, that's the thing they talk about. That's the thing that they bring up the most, and the most jokes about is somehow being raped in prison. Because they know. Because they know. They know what has happened, and they are afraid that that's going to happen to them. We're all projecting out on each other. No. If we want a beloved community, if we want to live in peace and harmony, it's not good enough to agree to disagree. It's not even good enough to just say, I want to have empathy and compassion for your side. Even that's not enough right now. We have to get to the love your neighbor as they are you. Not just a behavior thing, but an identity. You love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. No separation, where you know that you are part of that one thing, the only thing that is, and that everybody else is a part of that with you. And trust me, there will be a revolution like you have never seen when we can get to that point of seeing ourselves as one with each other and one with that which has created us. Oh! Anything short of that is rearranging the chairs on the Titanic. So if it seems like a hard task, yeah, maybe. But you know what? We don't really have any alternatives. Let's just do it. Take a breath. Take a breath. Let's take this to prayer. In this moment right now, we're just so grateful. We say yes. Yes, yes, yes. Yes to life. Yes to wholeness. Yes to peace. Yes to the journey. Something's calling us. And I'm going to invite Gary to noodle underneath me. Something's calling us. Something is calling us higher than we've ever been called before. Something's calling us up, and something's calling us out of the comfort zones, out of the dry places, out of the hypnotic trances, out of the doom and the gloom and the lack and the limitation and the guilt and the shame and the blame and the doubts. Oh, something's calling us out of all of that into the sunshine, into the divine order, into the right action, into the yielded surrender, into the victory. Every trial, every tribulation is a triumph. Every test is a testimony. And we pay tribute to our God being an awesome God. Our God is an awesome God, no matter what the name. The great I am. Brahma, Atma, Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, Krishna consciousness, Buddha mind, no matter what the name. Rose is still a rose by any name. So we celebrate this not as something outside of ourselves, but as us. We celebrate this deep, deep, deep interconnectedness, interdependence that we all have with everything. With each other, with the creepy crawlers, with the winged ones, with the ones in the ocean, with the hoofed ones, and the ones that are so small and microscopic that we can't even see them. Because without their presence, the earth couldn't be the earth. We're all in this together. And I know that there's room for all of us. There's divine order. There's right action. There's nothing extra and there's nothing missing. The great I am didn't put extra pieces. We're all supposed to be here. Just like our body temple, it's an ecosystem all within its own self. And so it is with our lives and with our society. There's an ecosystem of harmony and balance and justice and sustainability. And we give our full consent to be a part of that. So we let go of any resistances. We let go of the distractions, the hesitations, reservations, procrastinations, anything and everything that stands in the way of our sacred yes, we lay it down. And in this freedom, we experience all of the goodness that there is to experience. We experience the health, the vitality, the restoration, the rejuvenation. We experience it. We experience the wholeness, the trust, the truth, the joy, the faith, the glory. We knowing that it comes through as all needs met, not just some needs, but all of them. Financial and economic, social, emotional, mental, societal, political, from the most personal to the most global. God's handling everything. From the snowflakes falling to the solar systems rolling round and round, nothing is too big for the divine attention and nothing too small. We lay it all at the altar. And with the profound sense of love, we can say, not our will, but thine be done. It already is. We just get out the way and allow it to be. And so it is. Amen and amen. Yeah, Gary, give me a little something to round this out, please.
One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. One heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. And together we can make a difference in our world. Every creed and color, every boy and girl, all of creation, no separation. We are one, one heart. And even though it seems we are so far apart, and many times we're feeling all alone, the truth of who we are has been here from the start. We are one heart, one heart, one life. We are one family, one earth. And together we can make a difference in our world. Every creed and color, every boy and girl, all of creation, no separation. We are one heart, one life, one world, one love, one mind, one life, one love. All of creation, no separation. We are one heart.
Thank you, Gary. We're a praying community here. We're praying community. And I invite you to send us your prayer requests. There's something going on in your life, the life of your loved ones, maybe concerns about things going on in the world. Doesn't even have to be a problem. It could be something that you're excited about and or birthing, something that's being created and coming forth, and you just need somebody to stand in agreement with you for the highest and the best. That's why we're here. The people who've been training for years to be able to hold that space for you. You can reach us by email at the number 4 prayer@innerlightministries.com, or you can give us a call, 831-465-9090 at extension 254. That information is scrolling across your screen right now. Totally confidential. We pray for you for at least 30 days. No charge. Love offerings are always accepted, but no charge. Please don't try to just go through everything alone. There's only one of us here. So lean on that part of you that's grounded and ready to support you. Yes, indeed. For information about things that are going on and that are happening at Inner Light, you can go to our website and check out our calendar, innerlightministries.org, and the calendar section. And I also just want to remind everyone in the Santa Cruz area that there is a memorial service on Saturday, March of the 4th for Ann Forsberg. It's from 2 to 4 p.m. at the chapel at Santa Cruz Bible Church on Frederick, close to Soquel Avenue. Friends and family would love to see you there. Anne's the most beloved member of our community. So much going on, and we invite you to follow us, and please put down on your calendar Easter Sunday, which is April the 9th. We're going to have good old-fashioned worship experience, choirs coming back. We're going to rock it in some good gospel and New Thought music. We will be at the 418 project at 10:30. So put that in your calendar to get up. If you're in the Santa Cruz area, put some clothes on and let's put the commune back in community. Yes. And I want to say thank you to all of you who make contributions, particularly for those of you who do reoccurring donations and who are pledge partners. It really makes a difference, and know that your money is going towards great programs, towards healing and growth, transformation. There will be information on your screen about the easy ways in which you're able to do that. You can use a QR code. If you want to use any sort of a debit card, QR code on your mobile device, you can If you happen to be on your computer, you can go to our website, innerlightministries.org, and do donate there. You want to do Cash App? You can do Cash App, $ Inner Light Ministries. You can even text if you'd like. And for those of you who use Amazon, there is a program, Amazon Smiles, which works the same way that it works with any account, Amazon account that you have, where you can select a charitable organization to be the benefactor of any proceeds from your purchases that would be contributed through their Amazon Smiles program that they have. So it's an easy way to make it's like the win-win. You're buying whatever you're buying, and just you don't even have to give more on that specific time. It'll come right out. A portion of that will come right out. And with enough people, that really does add up, and it makes a difference. So whether you're using the QR code, going online, or using any of these other means, I want to say absolutely thank you. And as you're doing it, to be really, really conscious to bless it, knowing that our every act produces abundance. We dare to give freely unto the truth that sets us free. And we know that these gifts return to us 1,000-fold. So thank you. Thank you. And before Gary Lynn Floyd takes us home, I just want to remind you, it's an Inner Light motto, but we are very, very serious about this. When we tell you to take this consciousness and multiply it. Follow us on social media, share this message, like it, pass it on. Use the concepts in your life. Faith without works is dead. Put it into practice. See you next time. Gary.
Love be with you, peace enfold you, spirit lift you, breathe it in. Truth come through you, make good flow to you, let joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, love be with you. Love be with you. Peace enfold you. Spirit lift you. Breathe it in. Truth come through you. Make good flow to you. And let joy renew you till we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, 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 love.